China's single biggest advantage in its silent war against the West is that the West views China through a Western lens. Not one Western leader has even the remotest grasp of Chinese culture. As a result, all Western countries have been compromised in the face of China's rising hegemony. Every year for the past 20 years, new predictions have been made about the Chinese economy collapsing spectacularly. Yet every year for the last 20 years, China has enjoyed more economic growth than any other country on the planet. Politicians, institutions and nations continue to be bribed, bought and bullied. We lose ground with every passing day. If we want to understand China, time is running out. The Art of War by Sun Tzu, Bingfa, a book used by Mao Zedong during the Cultural Revolution as he fought against the Kuomintang, the Chinese nationalists, states, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle."
我们的共和国就这样筚路蓝缕一路走来。
In 2016, the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs was challenged on China's human rights record. His response revealed the Communist Party's official stance on its relationship with the West and how China would like us to view it.
I want to make a response to the questions asked by this journalist about China.
你的提问充满了对中国的偏见和所谓不知道而从什么地方来的傲慢，我是完全不能接受的。
I have to say that your question is full of prejudice and against China and arrogance, where I don't know where that come from, and this is totally unacceptable.
你了解中国吗？你去过中国吗？你知道中国从一个一穷二白的面貌，把6亿以上的人摆脱了贫困吗？你知道中国现在已经成为人均$8000的一个世界第2大经济体吗？如果我们不能够很好的保护人权的话，中国能取得这么大的发展吗？你知道中国已经把保护人权列入到我们的宪法当中吗？我要告诉你，最了解中国的人权的状况不是你，而是中国人自己。你没有发言权，而中国有发言权。所以，请你不要再做这种不负责任的提问。中国欢迎一切善意的这种建议，但是我们拒绝任何无端的指责。
I have to ask whether you understand China. Have you been to China? Do you know that China has lifted more than 600 million people out of poverty? And do you know that China is now the second largest economy in the world from a very low foundation? Do you think development is possible for China without protection of human rights? And do you know that China has written protection and promotion of human rights into our constitution? And those who other people don't know better than the Chinese people about the human rights condition in China, and it's the Chinese people who are in the best situation, in the best position to have say about China's human rights situation. So I would like to suggest to you that please don't ask questions in such an irresponsible manner, and we welcome goodwill suggestions, but we reject groundless or unwarranted accusations.
It's the Chinese people who are in the best position to have say about China's human rights situation. China is the 1.4 billion strong answer to Western individualism. The needs of the majority rule over the needs of the minority. China follows collectivism along lines of race. China rejects immigration because China is unashamedly an ethno-state. The core of what China is at direct odds to how the West defines itself. Chinese people view race as paramount and loyalty to the Chinese race as a basis for morality.
血浓于水，守望相助的天然情感和民族认同，使任何人、任何势力都无法改变的。
In the eyes of the Chinese, Western ideas of liberalism and multicultural diversity are for white people to satisfy their own feeling of moral superiority, strictly for ignorant and arrogant Westerners who pity the rest of the world and think they are their saviours.
Across the UK, lanterns are being hung in Manchester, Liverpool, Nottingham and many of our other great cities, including here in London, home to one of the biggest Chinese New Year celebrations outside Asia. The festivities are undoubtedly one of the highlights of Britain's cultural calendar, showcasing the strength, vibrancy and diversity of our multicultural society.
Ethno-nationalism is what takes the place of religion. It's what binds individuals as a collective in society. It is what justifies China's claim on Taiwan.
我们不承诺放弃使用武力，保留采取一切必要措施的选项，针对的是外部势力干涉。
It is the reason Xinjiang women are being sterilized in Muslim internment camps in the west of China. Western democracy.
Thank you very much. I'd like to address both leaders, if I may, specifically on your comments about human rights. Can you explain to the American people how the United States can be so allied with a country that is known for treating its people so poorly, for using censorship and force to repress its people? Do you have any confidence that as a result of this visit that will change?
China has a different political system than we do. China's at a different stage of development than we are. We come from very different cultures and with very different histories. And I want to suggest that there has been an evolution in China over the last 30 years since the first normalization of relations between the United States and China. And my expectation is that 30 years from now, we will have seen further evolution and further change.
China is not trying to be Western. Western democracy is not a natural conclusion for a developed economy. To understand this, you can ask yourself a simple question. What is the natural way to govern a nation? Democracy or dictatorship? Ponder, if you will, on the fact that most of human history has been that of tyranny and dictatorships. For only a millisecond of human history have people had the ability to vote, have people had anything that even resembles free speech. Why then would the Chinese aspire to such an unnatural state of humanity, such an unnatural way to govern themselves? Why would the Chinese break a thousands of years old style of governance? Because white people, the other side of the world, had adopted it. China didn't aspire to be Western before, it doesn't aspire to be Western now, and it certainly won't aspire to be Western in the future. Tyranny is the natural way of order for the overwhelming majority of human history, and for all of Chinese history. Therefore, in the eyes of the Chinese, it must be the most robust and correct way for the Chinese race.
U.S. military aircraft, Papa 8 Alpha. This is Chinese Yunsh Reef. China has the sovereignty of the national islands, including Yunsh Reef and its adjacent waters. Leave immediately and keep far off, so as to avoid any misstanding.
It's a routine occurrence for us on these flights. It happens throughout the flight where they come over and then we just go back with our standard response, and it really has no effect on any operations or anything we do.
Deng Xiaoping, the Chinese leader from 1978 to 1992, is famously quoted for saying, "If it's a black cat or a white cat, no matter. A cat that catches a mouse is a good cat." China is flexible and nimble. It is not held down by strong convictions of what it must be. While the West is tangled up trying to juggle Islam, mass immigration, LGBTQ rights and feminism, China marches forward with a meritocratic approach to political and social ideologies. It maintains the centralized power of communism while allowing the free market to harness the full potential of China's 1.4 billion population. It does not push for equality as Mao once did, following the Marxist doctrine. Instead, it adopts a more Darwinian approach to the acquisition of wealth and power, to ensure the smartest and hardest working of society are at the forefront of the rise of China. There is, however, one central and unwavering objective: ensuring the consolidation and hegemony of the Chinese race. And all that stands in the way is the West.